Hello and welcome back to Bookish, and welcome to my review of Newpoming by Leanne Betasamosake Simpson. This is a book that I have already mentioned many times on my channel. Is my #1 read of the year so far. We're 7.5 months into the year, and I can't imagine anything knocking it off the top of my list. I read it back in April, and as soon as I finished it, I started rereading it because it was that good, and I liked it that much. And since then, I've been trying to figure out a way to review the book, to create a book review that gave you, in any way, an adequate sense of what the book is about and why it's so powerful and why it's so beautiful and why it's so good. As a matter of fact, this is the second time I filmed a review of the book this morning. I filmed a review, I was watching it for the purpose of editing it, and I realized that that review was far too clinical in breaking down what the book was talking about, and it gave, I think, the complete wrong impression about the book. So I'm going to try again. This may be a really short review in which I say this book is amazing. But let me start off by saying this book is amazing. It is fiercely, beautifully, defiantly Anishinaabe in its outlook. It is a celebration of the First Nation Anishinaabe people and their culture and their tenacity and the spiritual life which binds people across generations, binds the Anishinaabe people across generations and across time and space together. It is beautifully told. It is creatively arranged, and it is, to me, I think, almost undescribable. Everything you would think about in terms of damage done to the Anishinaabe people by white settler culture is covered here. It's covered here unapologetically and fiercely, but it's not, the book isn't strident, it isn't angry necessarily, it isn't, it's not resentment, it's not a screed, it's not an attack, it is an honest look at those things, how they affect the Anishinaabe people, how Anishinaabe spiritual practices are preserved, are passed on, hopefully, to younger generations, and yet how the Anishinaabe people adapt and change. It is told in beautiful language, almost like poetry. The words, the pages oftentimes contain large blank spaces, as someone else pointed out, to give you time to think about what you've just read. And so when you read the book, I hope you will read sometimes just one sentence on the book and then take the time that space provides you to think about that and to reflect on that. The book is funny. It's humorous. It goes from everything to an old Anishinaabe man insisting on trying to carry out traditional practices, even in the face of Canadian government efforts to preserve Anishinaabe sites. He has to defy those to carry out his rituals, his ceremonies, to an old Anishinaabe woman who is, I think, the definition of hard-headed practicality and strength and defiance and a willingness to adapt. There are repeating kind of joking asides about older generation Anishinaabe people looking for bargains at Walmart, and how important the tractor supply store is in their local community, and a whole lot about tarps and reusing plastic containers in ways that are and you can see that I'm struggling to try to even give you an impression of how great this book is and how beautiful and powerful the book is. But it is all those things, and it is unapologetically Anishinaabe, even down to the names of characters and words in the book not being translated from the Anishinaabe or the Ojibwa language. I will leave a link down to an Ojibwa Anishinaabe dictionary, online dictionary, where you can look up the words, and if you read Newpoming, and I hope you will read Newpoming, you will look those words up, because it dramatically enriches the experience. And particularly, I think, the second time you read it, as I have you go through and think about those words and translate all those words out, I think it makes the reading experience that much better. Essentially, the book contains a whole world of Anishinaabe culture, as it was, as it is, as it hopefully will be in the future. It contains characters who are clearly people, characters who are the spirits of animals or of trees or of traditional Anishinaabe spirits, and it's just remarkable. And I really can't think of anything else to say that would explain it. Now, I have a feeling that in part this is because as a person who's not a member of the Anishinaabe culture and is looking at it from the outside in, that I'm not going to understand everything about it. That there are things about it and feelings that are contained and emotions that are conveyed that I'm going to miss. But having said that, I don't blame the author at all. I think that part of what makes the book powerful is that unapologetic attempt to capture Anishinaabe culture and the use of Anishinaabe language. I just think the book is remarkable, and I wish more people would read it. It is sometimes, I think, a little bit challenging to find because its publisher is the University of Minnesota Press, which means it is a university press, so it was released in a relatively small release, but please, seek this book out. I don't think in any of my book reviews I've ever done here on BookTube that I've ever wholeheartedly, completely recommended a book, convinced that that book was great and that everybody should read it, and I'm willing to accept that some people might read it and not be as moved or impressed by it as I was. It's still a great book, and you should all still read it. Anyway, there you go. There's my latest attempt at a review of Nupaming by Leanne, Betasamosake, Simpson. Look forward to your comments in the comment section below, and as always, thank you for watching.